Hey guys, Scott Fishman here with a great guest. He's creating quite a buzz and a lot of chaos within MLW these days, and he's just getting started as he heads into his debut on Fusion this weekend. Brick Savage, how are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I woke up today, so that's we're on a good start.
That is, yeah, the bar is always that first. Talk a bit about, you've worked just a couple years. I mean, you're fairly new to the business when you think of it all around. And then you have this opportunity with MLW. You signed with them. Talk about what influenced your decision. You have other places that you work and perform at. What makes MLW a destination for you, a landing spot?
I've always been interested in MLW, and I like the way they intertwine so many different types of characters and people, and the roster is stacked. So when I think about places that I want to try to create something that's unique and fun, and have that ability to do so, MLW was one of the places I wanted to go. So. Um, Over the last couple years, I've really tried to dial in the way I've developed my character to stand out and be something that was not only entertaining but uh, eye-catching with the aura and having people want to see that develop. So I feel like MLW was a place that was going to be able to continue that progress that I've been working on.
Then I feel like it's perfect time for you to join the company with so many other big men a part of it. It's only becoming this land of the giants again, where you
Right.
saw this evolution of the landscape of wrestling, where it was the high flyers, the smaller guys. Now we're seeing more of the athletic big man. So do you kind of feel like this is your time, like you came in the right time?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You know, everybody that I worked with early on and stuff were like usually smaller guys, and then it progressively got to bigger guys, coming in, moving around, going to different states, and the fact that MLW has a quite a handful of people that are rather large was super appealing to me, and those types of matchups are way more fun and interesting to me than just the smaller guys I've been in the ring with.
Talk about, for those who are just getting to know you, the MLW audience, talk about just what brought you into the wrestling business. How, what is your background and just kind of how, you talked about developing what we're seeing on screen over the course of the years. Talk about just the inspiration, who you've been pulling from, who's been supportive of you through your journey early on right now.
Right on. Yeah, so my dad was a wrestler, so I've been around wrestling for a long time, and I used to dabble in the ring, when I was 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, and I eventually moved on from that and tried to do my own thing with different sports, football and such. I landed in powerlifting, right? So I was a pro powerlifter for 7 years before I got into wrestling, and I had some things happen where I basically retired. So in 2022, I I got back into working and training and trying to figure stuff out. And this was just for like a, hey, I want to try to see if I can do something because I wasn't doing anything. And I was having so much fun getting back into it, especially now as an adult, that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give this a shot and see what happens. And it wasn't about maybe 3 months after that I started working in March 2022, and every show every week was getting more interesting to me over and over. And it's still interesting to me 4.5 years later, that I wanted to see if I could go all the way through to this, make it somewhere big, win a big title, do a bunch of stuff, go overseas. And the trajectory I'm on now is going that way. And I'm very happy with how that's going. And I have a great time every weekend, every time I'm doing shows, because I find something new that grabs me. Is like, yeah, this is something I really want to do.
With your powerlifting background, did you kind of talk to or have interactions with those that have come from that background and making that transition? Because so many have.
There's been a few that I've talked to, but also most of the guys that I run into have some kind of athletic background where like they did this thing and then were moving over, and they fit in very well with wrestling because you get to have not like your personality just times 11, right? So they get to have fun with some of these sports are like kind of mundane and just like boring and not fun. But for me, like in powerlifting, I used to cut promos and stuff. I would challenge people to one-on-ones and all that stuff. So the transition for me was pretty seamless. I was already doing these things, and I feel like some of the people that had those kind of interactions with others in their sport were able to transition, and they you could see it pop out of them, and it's a cool deal to be able to relate to some of those people that I run into like that.
Yeah, it's just a long, I just think of like someone like an Otis or a Mark
Yeah,
Henry who have kind of come from
yeah,
that background and their personalities shine through in wrestling, but they have that. Um, when it comes to finding inspiration, I mean, I love your name, Brick Savage. I mean, you just know from the start what you're gonna get. I mean, it's not like you're gonna get rainbows and butterflies. So talk
right.
about just developing your persona and how do you kind of make it stand out? I mean, who are you pulling from, but also making it your own?
Yeah, dude, I'm a large human, right? So uh, I had always had this moniker for Savage before from powerlifting and whatnot, and before when I was going to parties all the time. Uh, but I needed something that was representing myself in a whole in the imagery that I had. And I went to the gym one day, and it's been a couple years since I've been to this particular gym. And I walked by this dude, and he hadn't seen me in a couple years, and was like, "God damn, dude, you're built like a brick shit house." And I was like, hold on, there's something to that deal. So I started messing around with different types of naming brick was the one that stuck out most. And also in wrestling, there's a term they use brick for being stiff and like hard, to work with and whatnot. So I thought it was just kind of funny and interesting to have both. Not only be
What a,
built like a brick house and then also be a little hard hitting.
it's a nice combination. I mean, what about was there like an like everyone has kind of a match that that kind of reaffirms, their career and what their trajectory will be. Do you feel like you've had that yet?
I don't feel like I've had that just yet. There are matches that I've seen that are just like uh I want to be in this position at some point. And uh if I try to think back onto a match that like really sticks out to me, it's Sean and Razor Ramon, right? Ladder match. Like that energy, I think, right, is like one of those deals that encapsulates something that I want to be in that position to have. But there's like matches I watch now, right? Uh, Killer Cross is one that I see recently. Like that energy that he brings out from start to finish is something that's no, that's a spot where I want to be at. You know?
Yeah. I think what's also great about the landscape of wrestling right now is there's so many representation is so big, and I feel like we're seeing more of that creativity and more people being unabashedly themselves. I mean, you being very much part of the LGBTQ plus community, how do you feel like you're setting an example for others? And talk about just who maybe that was for you as a representative within the wrestling business that kind of helped guide you and kind of make you also want to set an example for others too through your journey in wrestling.
Yeah, yeah. So it's usually not something I think is a forefront that people are gonna be like, hey, cool, this person reminds me of myself. It wasn't until I had my wheels running and just going. I just wanted to be, someone that was respected and treated fairly and all that and whatnot. And uh it was brought to my attention when, some people started reaching out to me and stuff and was like, uh I'm also non-binary, you show me that I don't have to look like this, I don't have to look like this. I can look myself and be happy with that and be able to do these things, and you do amazing things. Uh it didn't I didn't really like think about it at the forefront, but after it was brought to my attention, I had that feeling of me being able to carry the torch somewhere for a group of people that, feel this way, want this type of representation, that feel like you could be in the LGBTQ community and be dangerous and be fun and entertaining and have this allure, all that stuff all in one. You don't have to be stuck in a box for things. And I feel like uh Brick Savage represents that person who can do those things and not be stuck in a box.
Yeah, I love that. What's been your initial impressions of MLW? You've got a chance to be in other locker rooms over time during your travels. I mean, you're part of this group Contra, that's been a part of, MLW for so long, this dominating group, and now it seems like entering a new phase, and with you a part of it, I mean, it's just adds another layer.
Yeah, the locker room is great. The locker room is great. The staff is great. The office is great, right? And getting to MLW and seeing how the effectiveness of this entire staff and unit has been eye-opening because I've been to several places that are just like they're not run well, very disorganized, and MLW is very organized, top to bottom. From court all the way down to the extras. Like everybody is having a place and excited to do it. And then being in Contra unit, probably the biggest deal for me. The guys in the group, Quan, Damo, Akamura, Kushida, they've all been very welcoming. Joseph Samael, obviously, very welcoming as soon as I came in. I feel like sometimes when I go to a lot of places, people get really standoffish, and that kind of seems like, hey, I'm trying to figure this guy out deal. But Contra Unit was immediately like, oh hell yeah, yeah, this is our guy, right? So that felt good to be a part of that deal and represent that faction like I am right now.
What do you want to say about your debut, and where do you see moving forward within MLW?
Yeah, my debut on Fusion this Saturday. They have it on YouTube, being sports. You can watch that there, and it's gonna be uh very telling of what the future's gonna hold for Brick Savage. Um, you get to see a small taste of what I'm capable of, and that's just barely scratching the surface. I've got so much more to offer, and I feel like the landscape of MLW is going to be able to let me spread my wings and showcase a lot of that. So, um, as far as my future goes and how I see that, I think I'm going to do very good things for MLW, and I feel like the landscape for what Contra Unit is about to do to MLW is about to set us on a new pace and a new path.
I love it's you got such great social media response. There's people that were saying, "Oh, where's Bronson Reed or or something else," and you've kind of had some fun with it. Like you're like, "I'm not a Samoan, I'm not this, I'm not that." I mean, kind of what do you make of comparisons and others and just having fun with it on social media of what the
It
reaction has been to you?
yeah, I get those things, and you always gonna get those things in comparisons for stuff. I'm bigger, I'm taller, I'm faster, I'm strong. Most of these guys, they play this part where uh they give this illusion that they're strong. I am absolutely strong. There is not a person I couldn't pick up or demolish or toss around or yeet. Everybody is a twink to me. So it is kind of just hilarious that, hey, we're gonna pick this guy and say this comparison. We don't look nothing alike. All right, I don't look Samoan. I'm black and European, and it's just comical that because I put on a black singlet that I get compared to this guy. Like I move faster, my footwork's better. Like, come on. So I'm not saying I have a lot to prove to people, but once I get going here on MLW, they're gonna be like, okay, cool, this is a whole different breed of a person. So
Where do you want to say for people to follow the World Breaker?
yeah.
What are you up to? And
You can follow me on Instagram at WorldBreaker Savage, and on Twitter at Brick Savage 7. Uh, Most of the stuff that I post is gonna go one of those two places. You get to see a lot of how I process things and go through stuff and how much I destroy people with, the snap of a finger.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brick Savage, for the time. It was great getting to know you ahead of your big debut. On Fusion, 6:05 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Veeps, 9 p.m. Eastern, beIN Sports, 10 p.m. Eastern, and New Japan World, of course, Mondays, 12 p.m. Japanese Standard Time. Thank you again for the time. I'm looking forward to seeing the carnage that awaits us. I'm glad I'm not
Oh,
on that
it's gonna
side of
be
things.
so good. Yeah, stay on the other side of the barrier. It's gonna be so good. Yeah, so this Saturday is gonna be
Thank
fun.
you.